take over, please.
Pleasure. Pleasure to be with you all. It's a house full, so thank you very much, the audience. On the panel also, I see very noted people, two of whom other than you, Mr. Hari Krishnan, are well known to me, Dr. Harish and Mr. Rajiv Nath. So pleasure to be with you all. And the topic which has been given to me is the importance of medical technology in COVID-19 times. So if I was to share some history about pandemics and what is the connection between pandemics and technology, I will be able to train the spotlight better on this question as to what role medical technology will play in handling COVID-19. So a few centuries ago, whenever a plague used to strike, the theory which was the governing theory to handle plague was the miasma theory. It was based on dodgy science. The theory was that toxic vapors emanate from the earth, from the soil, and these cause the plague or disease. So how did technology of that time handle this dodgy science belief? Millions of square kilometers of pavements were paved with flagstones and cement to make sure that this miasma, which was the belief that time, doesn't rise. Similarly, when cholera came, zoning instructions came because the person who discovered that cholera would be spread like this through water, John Snow, he brought out this real science theory that you will have to have zoning instructions. That means the houses should be so far from each other, and also the sewage system will have to be developed. So that was the technological response to this science. Then the bubonic plague came, where rat was conclusively established as the culprit. That the rat is causing this. So drain pipe designs came, thresholds of houses went up, and foundations changed. That was also a technological response because there was no cure. So you had to somewhere create a physical distance between the disease or whatever was causing the disease and you. Tuberculosis came. Then those white, light flooded sanatoriums came. In fact, if you see today's architecture is not only governed by function, it is also governed by infection, because today's architecture also has these white rooms and white clean aesthetics and glazed tiles which can be cleaned very well in the bathroom. So all this was technological response to these problems. Then in 1918, Spanish flu came. So how did technology respond? Technology responded by PPEs, masks, gloves, and other barriers. The understanding was increasing and the response of medical technology was becoming more focused. So whatever pandemic comes, because in the beginning there is no remedy for it, no therapeutic remedy for it, nor a vaccine, medical technology has to handle. And so far, if you will see, this whole problem has been handled only by medical technology. What are you hearing? You are hearing sanitizers, you are hearing PPE, you are hearing the new hero, ventilator. In fact, my mother was saying, she's very well read, but she was saying that these days I hear about ventilator so often only when my father was a builder, that time I heard about this word so often earlier, because ventilators used to be these spaces above the doors, but now it's ventilator everywhere. So my mother also, who's 86 years of age, she also has heard about ventilator, new hero. Medical technology is getting demystified. And so this is just the surface. At the back, you have arterial catheters, you have central venous catheters, you have bedside monitors, you have the entire imaging diagnostics. All these things are handling COVID right now. There is no medicine. So this trend will continue till we find a vaccine or till we find an effective therapeutic remedy. And in the next pandemic also, medical technology is the hero. So somewhere our government's emphasis on medical technology has got coupled with COVID to make it even more known as to what is the role of medical technology in handling COVID. Till 1918, the only the prevention side was there. That means how to protect the healthcare worker or others from getting infected. But now there is prevention, diagnosis and treatment, as well as training in which medical technology has a role. So I'm just sharing with you some of just a few of the names which I could recollect and who are also members of Medical Technology Association of India. What is their role? That will help you really imagine it from various aspects, and the ventilator which has become the star, you will soon have a galaxy of products, or you'll understand how medical technology as a multi-starrer is helping this sector. So Johnson & Johnson is one of our members. They have just made a swab which takes the fabric from Reliance and the stick from them and brings them together to be able to be used in RT-PCR diagnosis process. Because the wooden swab doesn't do, because you have to cut it. Also, the swab should have enough fibers so that it will catch that secretion. Otherwise, if it is an ordinary swab, you may feel you have done the process, a false negative will come because you have not caught the secretions only. That is what Johnson & Johnson has done in prevention. There are companies like Monolith and Halyard, multi-billion-dollar companies. They are doing great work in PPEs, which of course we are very happy is being replicated in India also. And I'm sure the quality will be up to the standard, that it will be also very good and timely import substitution so that the needs of the country can be met. We have 3M, which is making N95 masks. We have Boston Scientific, which is getting into face shields and also manufacturer of personal respirators. So this is the prevention side. The diagnosis and treatment side, we have BD, which has the viral transport media for infection control, for the RT-PCR test. Because the swab, when it is dropped, it has to be dropped in a viral transport media, which comes in a vacutainer, which my friend Mr. Rajiv Nath makes. Vacutainer has viral transport media in it, and it has to be dropped in that, and that has to be shipped. Because you cannot, otherwise the virus will die before reaching the lab. Then Baxter has an Oxyris filter for filtration of the blood, which is also part of one of the therapies used to handle this COVID. Boston Scientific is getting into ventilators. Medtronic has open sourced their ventilator. Medtronic, which is the largest company of the world, has given away entire proprietary rights, bill of material, entire DFM, everything to everybody. Anybody can have access to how Medtronic made its 510K, I think. That was the product code. Very popular ventilator, very reliable ventilator. This is reminiscent of when Volvo came with the safety belt in the car. It had the patent for it, but it gave away the patent because it felt that right now the entire industry needs to have this safety invention which we have discovered. It needs to have it without any restrictions. So Medtronic is the new Volvo. This Volvo is very famous for this. Medtronic is the new Volvo of medical technology sector. Stryker has done a lot of work on face shields. Vygon, the company, one of the companies on whose board I sit, we are very strong in non-invasive ventilation, arterial catheterization, infection control. So every company which is worth its salt is doing something to handle the diagnosis and treatment. Then workforce support. Lot of support is going right now for the healthcare worker in terms of training and other things which I'll speak of. One more thing about pandemics is pandemics often change the power structure. So when the Black Death came, a lot of people died, and more, of course, the poor people, the peasants. So the demographic correction reduced the overall number of peasants. When the number of peasants reduced, their bargaining power went up. And the structure of the society became less feudal. Also, the number of mouths to feed went down. So all the agriculture which was dependent on just growing grains to feed these people, that could also be used. I mean, the same fields could be used to develop cash crops. Prosperity rose. Similarly, in 1918, when the world saw that nurses are, forgive my doctor friends here, but nurses are more courageous in handling patients, and they are taking bigger risks in handling patients, bigger personal risks of getting infected, their stock went up. And their stock went up so much, which did not go in the commercial side, it got directed towards the political side, that the adult woman suffrage movement rode on the back of the growing importance of nurses and got them the right to vote. So in this pandemic also we are seeing that there are certain parts of the healthcare worker community, including the doctor, intensivist, anesthesiologist, who are very strongly engaged with the patient. And we are bringing them all the information from all over the world. We are interacting with the European Society of Intensive Care Medicine and such societies all over the world. We are having webinars with them and then bringing their information as well as medical technology information together to the doctor. So, for example, in terms of donations and workforce support and training, B. Braun has launched a free hand hygiene e-learning module all over the world. Vygon itself is doing a lot of infection control exercises. Mobility of the patients, how to make the COVID corridor, etc., is being proposed by imaging and diagnostics companies. And so on. The number is big. So today, I am actually gratified also. Of course, it's a very unfortunate disaster. and it is causing so much problem for so many people. But the tail end of this curse also has some kind of optical blessing for the medical technology sector. If you will ask any doctor who runs hospitals like Dr. Harish, my friend, what is the uh, what are the three most important things which you require for inpatient outcome? Any hospital owner or runner will tell you it is hospital infrastructure, human expertise, and medical technology. Medical technology was the lesser known small sector, but it is a pivotal sector. It is like a keystone. Keystone in architecture, you understand, is the one stone which, if you displace, the whole building crumbles. So that awareness is coming because of COVID. That medical technology is really medical technology, and we hope that till the vaccine or effective remedy is found, we can do our job as best as possible to protect as many patients as well as healthcare workers, including doctors. And in that connection, if you need any help from us, we are available for you 24/7. So that is what I wanted to say. It was a great pleasure speaking to all of you, and I'll be happy to take any questions if there are.